What sparked your interest in acting, and how did you actually begin your acting career?
Um, well, I always knew I wanted to be a performer. My mother's a classical pianist who brought a wonderful sense of music to our family when I was very young. I started playing the piano, classical piano, at age 6, and got my first real opportunity to act in a film when I was cast in um, a film called All at Once, where I play a young musical prodigy set in the aftermath of 9/11. And I have had the good fortune to be cast in several more films with leading roles. I have worked closely with Susan Batson, my acting mentor, who has taught me how to take on more complex and challenging acting roles. She has such a strong presence, and I admire her artistic fervor and deep passion for dramatic expression. We analyze scripts together and pick examples from real life to help bring out the characters' emotions. And we relate characters in the script to people in our day-to-day lives, and then imagine that we're speaking to these real people and not just made up characters from the story. I learned so much from her, and I'm looking forward to working together sometime soon, hopefully.
Yeah. And you are an actress, a model, and a pianist. How do you feel like your work in both modeling and piano has prepared you for your career in acting?
Um, Music is an incredibly important part of acting for me. It helps to convey the emotional heart of the feelings and emotions and thoughts of the characters. Music also allows us to really understand the personality of the characters, and I think it also helps establish a backstory and helps move the story along. Um, it can also help establish a particular mood or atmosphere. But being able to incorporate piano and singing into my portrayal of different characters gives me, at least I think, a meaningful advantage as an actress. One of my favorite films is Black Swan, which stars Natalie Portman. And I think this film gave Portman the opportunity to excel in both ballet and drama and reach extraordinary levels in both. And the film incorporates different art forms into a spectacular dramatic presentation. Broadway and live theater also provide us with another way of looking at this. I especially like the musical Dear Evan Hansen, which offers a compelling modern day story of cyberbullying set to an emotional musical score. And I think Ben Platt was really able to demonstrate his great acting skills and singing skills intertwined in this amazing story.
And you are originally from New York and Palm Beach, Florida. What was it like being able to see this film at Tribeca Film Festival?
Tribeca was an immensely exciting and rewarding experience for me. As a native New Yorker, it truly felt all the more special to be a part of it. It was actually my first time attending a major film festival, and although slightly overwhelming, which is to be expected, I was grateful to have Mark's constant reassurance and support as we navigated the many Q&A sessions and interviews together. The Place of No Words had its premiere at Tribeca Film Festival, which provided film critics with their first opportunity to see the film. And it provided us with the first independent, and I'm happy to say, positive reviews of the film. And it later went on to have its international premiere at Munich Film Festival, and we won Best Film at Gifoni Film Festival in Italy later that summer.
Amazing. And the film also was written, directed, and starred Mark Webber. What was it like being able to work with him on this project?
Mark is absolutely brilliant in all ways. He has a heart of gold and is so inspiring. He gave me the opportunity to play Esmeralda and be a part of his family's journey. I always felt so included throughout the planning and the filming process. He even sought my input on the script and allowed me to ad-lib many of my lines. Mark really happens to love improvisation and taking people out of their comfort zones to try and achieve new levels of realism not often seen in traditional films. But working with a crew of about 5 or 6 people is different than other projects I had previously worked on. But he pushes past boundaries of filmmaking and uses elements from his real life to develop a new type of filmmaking he calls reality cinema. And I believe The Place of No Words is technically considered fantasy reality cinema, which expands on his filmmaking style to the fantasy genre through Bodhi's stimulated imagination.
And with Mark using this new genre of film that he's created for himself, he also uses his wife and his son Bodhi as the stars of this film. What was it like being able to see that family dynamic on and off screen?
Well, Mark, as the director and writer, cast his 3-year-old son Bodhi and his wife Teresa, along with himself, as a real family facing the dying process together. And the audience gets to experience the story through the eyes of their son, as well as both parents to an extent. But Bodhi is a very smart and eloquent young actor. We had lots of fun working together on this project, I mean, especially considering the heavy topic of the film and Bodhi's age. It was amazing how he was able to deliver his lines and fully immerse himself in the role. And Teresa really rounded out the family unit with Mark and Bodhi. I think her role in the film increased substantially and was more apparent in the real world of modern day Los Angeles, as she provided a source of comfort for Mark as he was dying, and to Bodhi as he was grieving. But last spring, actually, before the COVID-19 pandemic began, my family and I had the chance to visit Mark and his family in Australia. They split their time between Adelaide, Los Angeles, and now Cardiff, Wales for professional reasons. But their family dynamic is remarkably close and transparent on and off screen. I could easily see them reliving the experiences as depicted in the film.
What was your preparation process for the role of Esmeralda?
Well, I had worked previously with Mark on a film called Clover. And one day, while we were filming, actually, he pulled me aside and asked if I would be willing to play a guardian angel in his upcoming fantasy reality film, which was going to take place in Snowdonia, Wales, of all places. And despite the more obvious obstacles of filming in the bitter cold of January and, well, not speaking a single word of Welsh, I jumped at the opportunity read the script and just fell in love with the storyline. And about 2 weeks later, my family and I were settling into our new home for the next 2 months, 5 hours north of London in the mountainous region of Wales.
And the film shows Bodhi exploring his emotions through his imagination. What do you think is the significance of imagination and embracing your inner child?
Well, the main theme, for me at least, is conquering our fear of death by embracing the beauty of being alive through our imagination. And if we could only bring our childlike wonder into the dying process, we may even be able to see the beauty in death. Freakarika Shikadika is straight from the imagination of Mark and Bodhi. It's a mythical figure that they created in their actual stories to one another, and it's meant to encapsulate the silly, childlike imagination of Bodhi. And well, The Place of No Words tells a story of a young man who is dying of cancer and how his impending death not only affects his family, but his close friends, and especially his young son, who asks the $1 million question, where do we go when we all die? And it's an unanswerable one because each person, religion, culture has its own idea about where we go and what happens when we die. But the film is seen and interpreted through the eyes of Mark's son and switches back and forth between the real world and Bodhi's imagination. I play the character of Esmeralda, and Bodhi looks up to me and sees me as a source of love and comfort who brings magic and playfulness to his life. And in his imagination, I am a guardian angel who guides them on their journey towards death, which is the place of no words, but not in a sad or fearful way, but in a way that reminds us to cherish each moment we have with the ones we love.
And for you, what did you feel like was the biggest challenge for you with working on this film?
The most challenging and yet the most beautiful part of working on this film was dealing with the location that was chosen for filming. We started our journey in London with the cast and crew and went on a 4-hour train ride to northern Wales. Filming mostly took place on a mountaintop near Snowdonia National Park. And we spent most of our free time in a one-room bungalow and an adjacent house that we all used to get ready for filming. We all became very close, as you would imagine, given the surroundings and lack of civilization. I mean, seriously, there were more sheep than people. Nightly, we had traditional Welsh food cooked for us fresh by the family that owned the farm on which we filmed many scenes. We had karaoke sessions during dinner and would spontaneously belt out to some Adele. But it was really such a kind environment and a community to be a part of. It was incredibly cold and windy on set. In fact, the actors' hut on the mountaintop next to the breathtaking forest where Bodhi and I walked was blown over by the strong winds, and there were no heat lamps.
What do you think audiences can learn about the grieving process through this film?
The Place of No Words is an imaginative adventure that explores how we cope with dying and the love, laughter, and pain we can find within it. The film takes viewers between this epic fantasy world with Great Lakes, mountaintops, forests, medieval castles, magical creatures called grumblers, and enchanted fairies, juxtaposed with the real world in modern day Los Angeles. And well, along with being visually breathtaking, there are also whimsical and fantastical elements and humor to the story. The film has even more relevance in today's COVID-19 world, where so many people are facing a multitude of challenges and having difficult but necessary conversations with each other and their children. While there is no timetable for grief, that hollow feeling of emptiness is shared through the innocent eyes of a toddler who grapples with concepts that are difficult to deal with at any age, really. And he does so with a childlike sense of wonderment. But the film manages to convey a strangely optimistic and somewhat freeing image of death without questioning or wondering about the afterlife itself.
All right, well, that's it for today. Thank you so much, Nicole.
Of course, thank you.